massive round of spherical lightning began to coalesce in his mouth. He was going to strike a fatal blow, or at least force Daiko Yenjin to leave the area, creating a chance for Bai Chunyu to get out of his predicament. However, just as he was building up his strength, Daiko Yenjin suddenly assumed a bizarre stance. He raised the Tanbo-kiri with both hands, his body slightly crouched down, and his long, athletic body was drawn like a large bow. Oh no! Luo Tianxiang immediately realized what that guy was going to do. I have to dodge this right away. He lifted his wings to fly, but the blast of the Tanbo-kiri came straight through with a penetration of space. Daiko Yenjin was not fast, but he possessed top-notch physical strength. With this power, the Tanbo-kiri slices through the air with an ear-splitting sonic boom. A strike that was several times the speed of sound. Luo Tianxiang didn't dodge the strike, his body was directly penetrated in the air. The huge Tanbo-kiri even penetrated his body, carrying scarlet blood to continue flying towards the sky for some distance. Luo Tianxiang felt that in this instant, his body was emptied of all its strength. He was sliced in two. With that, he fell head first, straight down from a height of several hundred meters. Old Luo! Li Taichang couldn't help but exclaim. Li Taichang's eyes were wide with rage as he watched. He was furious in his heart, and at the same time, he was terrified to the core. Bai Chunyu had been sealed, Luo Tianxiang had been sliced in two. Now that he was alone, how could he fight against the three people in front of him? Even though he was wearing the armor that Deng's facility had tailored for him, he still couldn't help but feel fear for the battle to come. Reality did not leave him time to think. Daiko Yenjin looked at him with a sneer, and taunted him to charge forward. Li Taichang roared, dragging his chains and picking up the huge anchor before charging. Daiko Yenjin suppressed Bai Chunyu with one move, and ran through Luo Tianxiang with one blow. Within a short moment, two of Heavenly God Squad's three major battle forces were taken out by him. Daiko Yenjin was looking down on him, his excited eyes like a beast that had met its prey. It had been too long since he had encountered an enhancement mutant of this level. All of his previous enemies were easily crushed into balls of meat. Only Li Taichang could fight him in close combat for a while. Come on, brat. Let me see how long you can hold out. Cold sweat broke out on Li Taichang's head, but at this moment, he had no other choice but to fight to the death. He clenched his teeth and touched a switch among his gloves with his hand. Immediately, a short syringe appeared from the armored device of his arm, directly piercing into his skin. Blizzard City's biotech drug, Compound 2, could allow him to explode with immense strength in a short period of time. However, this drug was currently in the experimental stage and had tremendous side effects. The reason why it was configured for the investigation squad was so that they could use it in the middle of a desperate situation. And even if he got through the immediate crisis, there was a high possibility that he would die in a short period of time later. However, he could no longer care about this. Compound number 2 quickly entered his bloodstream and flowed through his veins. An intense burning sensation rose from within Li Taichang's body. He felt like he was about to explode. That powerful force was almost incinerating him, and he desperately needed to find a place to release it. Daiko Yenjin saw this change in him, and the smile at the corner of his mouth became even more excited. Nobody come over, I'm going to fight him one-on-one. Li Taichang reddened his eyes and roared angrily as he charged toward Daiko Yenjin. Ah! On top of the battlefield, blood and flesh flew everywhere. Shocking explosions and the sound of weapons clashing resounded through the sky. After only 3 minutes of time, the place was once again calm. The head of Luo Tianxiang was carried in Yoshimitsu Sakuraba's hand. Bai Chunyu's life and death status were unknown. Li Taichang, on the other hand, had completely disappeared. All that was left was his oddly shaped set of heavy armor, and the blood splatters that littered the ground. Having used Compound 2, constantly pushing his limits and in the midst of this high-intensity battle, it caused his limbs to rapidly disintegrate. The Northern Front, at this point, was completely defeated. Daiko Yenjin's eyes were somewhat disappointed. Is it over just like that? What a shame, clearly I haven't had that much pleasure in a long time. Behind him, Akira Kurosawa, a heavy artilleryman, said indifferently, the outcome of the battle was predetermined a long time ago, wasn't it? Ms. Takeuchi's divination never fails. On this side of the combat center, Zhu Zheng's face was terribly gloomy. His voice changed a bit. How could this happen? A total defeat, surprisingly a total defeat. Zhu Zheng raised his head, and reached out to Zhang Yi. Deng Shintong has infiltrated into Eclipse Moon's headquarters. The Western Front has been completely wiped out. The Northern Front must hold out and give Deng Shintong enough time to kill the Eclipse Moon leader. After Zhu Zheng finished the report, Zhang Yi hesitated for a moment and pondered to himself. Those two colliding forces on the other side should be coming from Deng Shintong and the leader of Eclipse, right? Should I go over to support them now? On second thought, forget about it. Let's just use Deng Shintong as bait to see the strength of the Eclipse group's leader. After deciding, Zhang Yi started to run without hesitation to make his next move. On the Northern Front side, the situation was reversed. Vice Captain Liao Honglei came alone. Heavenly God Squad had two vice captains, one was Bai Chunyu and the other was Liao Honglei. Only, although the two were at the same level, the gap between their duties was rather large. Most of the time, Bai Chunyu was a military advisor as well as a logistics manager. Liao Honglei, on the other hand, was an extreme and pure martial arts fighter. At the expense of Yu Xingyang, Xue Feiyu, and the others, he gained insight into the abilities of Kamiya Gato and Akutsu Shinichiro. A sudden surprise attack was launched, and the two were directly nullified without any defense. As Liao Honglei was about to slaughter the two Eclipse Moon members, a huge dog appeared out of the thick fog and pounced on him. The number 2 person in the Eclipse Moon group, the Yin-Yang Master Jinguji Saikairo, entered the battle. He had 5 gods with him. Golden Giant Ape Kanemaru. Silver-colored six-tailed fox Jinmaru. Green Bird Maru. Red three-headed dog Akamaru. Gray Crow Ashimaru. Liao Honglei saw Jinguji Saikairo appear in the middle of the battlefield, and an angsty battle spirit appeared on his face. Neon's Yin and Yang Master? Interesting. That concept is stolen from our Huashu culture. Do you really think you can win? Jinguji Saikairo was naturally able to understand Liao Honglei's mockery of him through the earpiece's translation function. A snort escaped from the corner of his mouth. I remember an old saying in your Huashu. A disciple doesn't have to be inferior to his teacher, and a teacher doesn't have to be more virtuous than his disciple. It looks like you all have forgotten this saying. He stared at Liao Honglei and said word for word, "We enlightened it." Liao Honglei suddenly moved as he spoke. His figure was as fast as lightning, as he lowered his body and charged towards Jinguji Saikairo with vigor. However, Jinguji Saikairo only waved his right hand, and the Kanemaru beside him blocked Liao Honglei's path. At the same time, the three-headed demon dog Akamaru attacked Liao Honglei from the other direction. Liao Honglei calmly observed everything around him. The three-headed demon dog and the giant ape look like melee-type gods, but there's also a fox, bird and a crow by his side. That crow was found on everyone in Eclipse Moon, didn't see it embodying the ability to fight, it should be a support type. Liao Honglei basically made a judgment in his mind. His reaction was extremely fast as he blasted a fist at the ape in front of him. The power of the 100 Steps Divine Fist sent out shocking ripples through the air, and in the next moment, it arrived at Jin Maru's body. Boom! Inside Kanemaru's massive body, an invisible fluctuation slowly appeared, directly tearing a huge gash in its abdomen. However, immediately after, a red light appeared from the wound of the Kanemaru, repairing it as good as new. Kanemaru roared as it rushed to Liao Honglei's body, both of its fists raised high, and it smashed down towards his head, like Tarzan pressing down on it. Liao Honglei dodged the Kanemaru's attack with a sturdy figure. However, the ground where he just stood, with a boom. The earth shattered with a loud bang. The power of this was so great that it made people's jaws drop. It was definitely at the level of a Delta-level enhancement mutant. Liao Honglei had already realized that the great ape was not a life form, otherwise, within 100 paces, almost no creature would be able to take a punch from him and remain unharmed. The only explanation was that it was something condensed with supernatural energy. Yin and Yang technique, Shikigami is it? Liao Honglei's expression became grave. This was the first time he had faced this kind of opponent. The worst part was that he wasn't sure how to destroy it. However, Jinguji Saikairo's Shikigami would not give him a gap to think. Akamaru roared and rushed while blasting a high-energy beam. Liao Honglei swiftly dodged. Liao Honglei's eyes glanced to Jinguji Saikairo in the distance. He had a plan in his mind. Since he didn't know how to quickly resolve the Shikigami, wouldn't it be better to just take out the Yin-Yang master?